Hi, y'all. It's Bridget Cutshaw with Real Things Living. Today, my guest is Kijuan Amey. He is an entrepreneur and the author of Don't Focus on Why Me. Can you say hi, Kijuan?
Hello, Bridget. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad we connected. I love your, before we started recording, guys, we were talking and trying to get to know each other. And I love his sense of humor. You have to have that. I think it comes out of you when you go through tough times. Everybody goes through tough times.
Yeah.
And you have an amazing, I should say amazing, a very inspiring story, right?
Right. Right.
And I guess first of all, I'm not going to talk about your book yet, but
Mhm.
you were in the military, and then how long were you in the military? Um,
Well, on paper,
yeah.
they say I was in the military for 10 years, 3 months, and 17 days, but I'm not counting. I'm not counting. Yeah. So, but for me, I personally say I was in the military for 6.5 years because that's when my accident occurred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really scary that you were on. My understanding is you were on a motorcycle, and
Yes.
then
Yeah.
you crashed. What caused this?
Well,
Did
I
it make
didn't
you hurt?
crash. I didn't crash. The car hit me.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
so it was a car pulled out in front of me, and without if that car wouldn't have been there, I would have still been going. So so yeah, it pulled out in front of me from an intersection actually, and yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote because after that impact, so my accident was May 5th, 2017. After that impact, I don't know nothing until June 6th, 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in a medically induced coma for a month.
Wow. So it caused obviously lots of damage to your body. What was affected the most? Uh,
uh
your
my life? No, let
right.
me
No,
stop.
I meant right. Sorry. I know it affected your life, but you found a way to
No,
move
no.
forward, right?
As you said, I have great humor.
You
That's
have
all.
great humor.
Listen, so I would say that my and I do say my life because of the simple fact that I deal with this daily. Everything that happened to me, I deal with on a daily basis. So I did lose my eyesight in the accident due to a lot of damage. No damage to the optic nerve, retina, none of that. And the retina did not detach, none of that. It was damage to just the eyes in general.
Oh,
I have
wow.
damaged blood vessels, scarring, and all this other stuff. And everybody's like, "Well, can you see anything?" I'm like, "I still have zero visual acuity, none." And
Wow.
so that plus my brain, literally my face was crushed in, literally. So Bridget, you could probably see a little groove there.
Uh-huh.
That's a metal plate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's one of them because I have two in my head
Oh my gosh.
reshaping my face. So that was actually I'll come back to the brain here in a second, but that was actually a joke when I woke up. When they told me I had plastic surgery, yeah, my question to them was, well, did they make me look like Denzel? And everybody was like, no.
Oh, that's so funny. I mean, I get where you're coming from because you just have to, that just helps you deal with the trauma.
Yes,
And
absolutely. Absolutely. And I can tell you exactly who I asked that question to, my mother. Because she was telling me all that was going on, or that had happened, shall I say. Because like I said, I don't know. When I woke up, I literally felt like I was waking up in my bed, like my bed at home, not a hospital bed. And so the only thing that really, I guess you could say, caught me off guard was the fact that I heard two people talking in what I'm thinking is my bedroom. So
right.
I'm like, huh? Time out. Um, who's in my room? And secondly, you said I'm military, right? Do I need to get in fight or flight mode?
Eat.
I, I'm like, uh-oh, I think I need to go for the pistol beside the bed. That's all I'm thinking.
Right.
And then I pause and I'm like, wait, I know those voices. That's my girlfriend. She's an ex now, but that's my girlfriend. But what the heck is my mom doing in my bedroom? You know what I mean? And so going back to what things like really affected me, like my brain every day. I mean, It's not just that impact, but I live with residual damage from on my brain. Literally, when I tell you my face was crushed in, I mean every bit of that. To the point where they had to, you see this scar here?
Right. Yeah.
They had to cut me across the top of my head from ear
Oh,
to ear to relieve the swelling on my brain.
because of the trauma, right?
Yes, from the impact. And
Yeah.
so they had to do that initially. I don't know how long that my head was cut open for, because they did, of course, put it back together. But I had to, that was the like one of the first things they had to do. That and go into my groin area, I believe it was. It was either the groin or the hip, one of the two. And get one of those arteries because it was bleeding. I was bleeding out on the inside.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. So those are like the first two things they did to like, so we're gonna have to do something quick, or he's not gonna make it. You know what I mean? Um, and so I deal with a traumatic brain injury, PTSD. S- I'm susceptible to seizures, so I
Okay.
take medication daily. I take it morning and night, and then uh, let's see short-term memory loss. So you see how I was just like trying to figure out where I'm going with this. It actually happened just then. Short-term. So if I ever ask you to recall something you said, that's why. It's
Right.
literally something I deal with on a daily basis. And what I do to, I guess you could say, battle it is I read. And I know you're like, wait, you read? You can't see anything. Yeah, but my phone reads to me.
That's
I
awesome.
yeah, I read news. Of course, social media stuff. Just different things. I read your email, obviously, because otherwise we wouldn't be talking.
Correct.
And so, um, I do read books when I have downtime. Music is a huge, not just the fact that I'm a musician. I have been playing since I was 7 years old, playing the drums. I get that part. After the accident, I was 25 years old at the time of the accident. I'm 33 now. I still, till today, play music. And it is a huge part of my therapy. If you've never heard of music therapy, you ought to, because anybody going through anything, as you say, real, they should be going through some kind of therapy, whether it's mental, music, whatever. I believe in therapy because it made me who I am today and it's
Right.
still helping me.
Right. That's a good point. I love the aspect of music. You can still play the drums, and
Yeah.
I see you have a little keyboard there
Yeah.
too
I
next to
play
you.
that too.
I think it's good for your brain
It
to.
is. It is. It keeps your brain active and growing.
That's
So
true.
so the drums, yeah, I'm a bit further along and advanced than that. So I picked up the keyboard actually in the pandemic.
Okay.
So literally the end of 2020, I started learning that. And so now I'm tapping into another level of learning. So my brain is constantly still learning something. I don't want to get stagnant because that's how you start to regress. And I
Right.
don't want to regress. I want to continue growing. That also keeps me, as you can hear, intelligent, intellectual. It keeps me articulate because you have to be pretty articulate with some things you do on those musical items. I have to make the song go a certain way, or it's not going to sound good. And so I love it. I really do. Yes, you talk about how funny I am. People tell me I should do comedy. I actually have, not stand up, but I've done improv.
Okay.
I've actually done improv in Washington, D.C.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm like I said, I live in North Carolina, but I did it in DC for some fellow disabled troops.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
very helpful for them too, to have
Yes.
someone like you show up.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. We call it a day of healing. So
Okay.
we do music that day. And I was actually a part of that band too, the Rock to Recovery band. We do the day of healing with the improv comedy. And I'm sure those clips are still out there somewhere in the universe. Uh, and I forget it was one other thing I can't think of right now. But yeah, I was a part of two of those Day of Healing items. The Rock to Recovery. I was a part of the band. I was a singer, and I also played instruments. I was playing one of the African drums on the stage, and I also did the comedy. And when I tell you it, when you get me acting a clown on stage, because I used to be an actor, I wrote that in my book. I used to do on stage acting. When you
Okay.
get me back in my element, oh, it's game time. It's game time.
I think it's very helpful. What you're doing is kind of entertaining.
Yes.
We need the good kind of entertainment. And that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful that you haven't lost your voice.
Yeah.
I mean, not literally, right? How's
Well,
that? Yeah.
it's funny you say that. I literally just had a moment the other day on a podcast because somebody asked me about um the moment when my jaw was broken and I woke up and could not talk because my jaw was wired shut.
Oh, wow.
I never ever want to go back to that, but also I never want that to happen to anybody because I know what that was like and it was not good. Being able to talk for 25 years, I mean, minus the baby talk,
Right.
but being able to talk for 25 years to instantly going to no talking. How do I communicate now?
Right.
That's what my brain is trying to figure out. The brain that's been crushed, the brain that's been severely injured, the brain that's trying to recover itself. How does it figure out, well, how do I communicate to you without now raising my blood pressure because I can't figure it out? Like,
Right.
if only people could understand the things I went through.
I can
And
just, yeah.
Bridget, you won't you when you hear me say this, you'll be like, "What?" If people only understood half of the things I went through to get to where I am now, they wouldn't say, "Well, your story doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's old." I'm speaking from experience when I say that because I've heard it.
I think stories like yours are very important as a
Yes.
reminder to appreciate what's right in front of you right now.
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week.
I definitely didn't see a motorcycle accident coming.
Right. Right.
It completely turned my life around. It completely altered everything that I was doing at the time. Being in the Air Force, going to college full time, having my own business in Kiwi Enterprise. Everything. Stop.
But you're still here, right? Because
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's not just resilience, I think, but you have a lot of tenacity, right? Is that the right word?
Oh, listen, I'm not giving up.
Right.
So you're right. I'm definitely not giving up.
I think that's a good trait to have. And I think that's why I like to share stories like this because we learn from them. And I love how you talk about how it's helping your brain. You got to keep learning. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how old you are or young you are. You have
Yeah.
to keep learning and reflect on that kind of stuff.
Well, I just had another podcast the other day and I referenced that. I said I always continue to keep learning because at the point you stop learning is when you stop growing.
That's true.
Nobody else. We're not talking about anybody else around you. The point you stop learning is the point you stop growing.
That's true. And we don't always have to, some people want to just stay the same, but change is normal and you have to be yourself,
Mhm.
but you still need to be open to all these opportunities. It's an opportunity,
Yes.
is kind of how I see it. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is you've got an amazing story. And so your book,
Mhm.
Don't Focus on Why Me. So what gave you the idea to do that? Because I think people like to read books like you, but what prompted you to start writing this?
Yeah, well, the only book I used to read before I wrote that book was the one they gave me in the military that says, "Hey, that's playing out here. You need to learn about it."
instruction manual, basically.
Yes, exactly. So that was the only book I was focused on to make sure I knew my job proficiently. And I might add I was very, very good at it. So anywho, uh the book, well, it was more so a thing that people kind of pushed me into. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm actually grateful for it. I'm glad they did. But I kept hearing this for about October 20, 3 years. 3 years, people were pushing me to write a book. I mean, I finally sat down and did it, but for 3 years, people have been, man, you got to tell your story. Man, you got to, and the speaking, you got to get on the stage, man. You got to go let this out. You got to tell people about this. It's too empowering for you to just be sitting in a house and
Right.
holding this in.
That's true.
And so I kept hearing this, and my friend, God rest his soul, Sam Murray, we grew up together literally from the ages of 5 until the day he left this earth.
Oh, wow.
The only time we were not together was high school. High school, and when I went off to, of course, the Air Force. That's it. Once he found out about my accident, he called me immediately. Well, when I could talk,
Right.
you know, you know what I mean. And he said, "When did you have this accident?" And I told him blah blah blah. He said, "Dude, I'm on the way." I said, "Okay, yeah, yeah, I'll be here." Well, what he didn't know was that I was at home alone, and so when I went to the door and opened the door for him, he said, "You here by yourself?" And I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Hold on, man. Sworn you they told me you had a motorcycle." I said, "I did. Come on in, I'll tell you all about it." And when I was telling him this story, I'm gonna get back to the book, but when I was telling him this story, he was so like blown away is the simplest way to put it, flabbergasted, however you want to say it, that he was just like, "You're like a real life Superman."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, "Wait, what?" I've never been called a superhero before in my life. And the fact that he said that, it kind of, I took a step back because I don't never necessarily look into this stuff. I feel like if I get so stuck or caught up in my own life or my own story or what I am currently doing, I would never get anything done.
I agree with you. I have felt the same way about my health issues that I've had. I just didn't wanna you wanna talk about it, but not
Yeah.
too much. Right.
Yeah. And so, um, he was that beacon of light
That's beautiful.
that said, "Hey man, I think you should write a story." Now, what makes this so sad, I hope I don't,
It's okay.
make you cry or anything, but what makes this so sad is he never got a chance to read it
Oh, that is
here.
sad. So what how
And now hear me clearly. He
yeah.
never got a chance to read it here.
Oh, wow.
When he passed away, the family asked me to speak at the funeral.
Oh, wow.
And not the eulogy, but just to speak, give some words. And I got up there. I said my words. Well, before the service even started, I went to his mother. And of course, his mother, I know, like I said, I've been knowing him since the age of 5. We used to go everywhere together. Anything, everything, anything. We always did it. I'm at their house. He's at mine. Whatever. At the homegoing service, my mom walks me up to the casket and she wants to describe what he looks like. I think he had on a really nice blue suit, is what I think is what I'm remembering. And my mom said he looks really good, and I said just like I knew he would, And his mother comes up there, and she's like, "Hey, Kijuan," she hugs me. And I say, "Hey, how you doing?" And she said, I'm hanging in there." And I said, hey, that's the only thing we can do right now. That's the best thing we could do. And I told her, I said, I have two things for you. And she's like, what's that? And I pulled it out. I handed her a signed copy of my book, the paperback version, and a copy of the letter that I was getting ready to speak. And why I call it a letter is because what I titled it. It was a letter from Superman, is what I
Oh,
titled it. And I said, I want to give you both of these. And the reason I'm giving it to you because I wanted to know if I can put this in his casket because he might not have had a chance to read this while he was alive, but I want him to take it with him and read at
right.
his leisure.
That is so beautiful. But I just made me think of, sorry, I'm just telling you
Yeah,
too,
go ahead.
when my stepfather passed away, he's a
Mhm.
West Pointer. He always wanted a yellow Corvette and he died unexpectedly of a heart
Yeah.
attack. So Bridget went and bought him a little yellow Corvette and
Okay.
I put it on his chest
Yeah.
in the casket. I love that you did that. So we have more
Yes.
in common than I
Yes.
realized. But you wanted to help them,
Yeah. Yeah.
help the
So
family. And he's in heaven driving his Corvette, and your friends
my
reading
friends and
the book.
hey, he's sitting passenger seat riding, reading.
He's the passenger. He's reading the book to my
Yep.
stepfather out loud.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. And
They're and doing what do you call it when you burn the tire? I forget what you call it when
oh, burnouts.
you're doing burn. Sorry. So you made me
Yeah.
think of right. That is just so beautiful. Can
Yeah.
I ask what your friend passed away from? Or
He so at the age of 4, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes
okay, yeah,
and he lost the battle. Yeah.
got you.
Yeah, so it was one of those things. What and this it kind of burns me up. It's not really his fault. And the reason I say this is because what we call, and I hate to get political, but big pharma
Yeah,
started raising their prices to insulin. He could not afford it.
right.
So he's no longer taking something that he needs.
He
Not that he
needs, right,
wants, he needs
right.
for his life.
One of my best friend, um, she's got type 1 diabetes. She was diagnosed after her second child, which is weird, unusual at
Yeah.
32. But she's been telling me she's single
Mhm.
right now, and it's just brutal. Right, I
Yeah.
understand what's going on now. Yeah, it is not right.
Yeah,
These
I'm
people
telling
need
you,
it.
man. Like and they don't see it. Like they don't see is what I call human, the human life. All they see is they don't care about the color of your skin. They care about the color of that piece of paper that come out of their pocket.
That's true.
That's what they
That's
care
true.
about.
That's true. We've got so many weird things. I should say weird, but I've noticed a lot of people are speaking up like you are about
Mhm.
this. We need to speak up more for it.
Well, excuse me. Well, see, the problem is the reason I speak out is because it's hitting home.
Yes,
It's now hitting home. When you have something that you actually connect to, that's when it becomes a real problem. But when you can just, oh, yeah, yeah, those people, they keep complaining. I don't know why. Because it's not hit you yet.
right.
It has hit me in more ways than one.
Oh, definitely. I totally get the passion behind that because like I
Yeah.
said, my best friend's dealing with it. And then
Mhm.
I just dealing with the health insurance stuff on my side.
Yeah.
Just don't know. And that's what's scary about what's going on. With I don't know, it is all about it shouldn't be about profit. It should be about helping people.
You know, it's funny, because I was talking to was it a guy or a girl? No, it was a lady who has a podcast. She's out of Ontario. I think they're either in Ontario or Toronto, Canada, and they were talking about their healthcare system. I don't know if you know much about Canada's healthcare system. They don't pay anything,
Correct.
but we get hit over the head.
Right.
Where
It's
is all this
I think
money
it
going?
was a big I should say big I don't know, having the employers be responsible for it. That didn't help either, right? They're
No,
trying to have a
right.
business, right? They're
Yeah.
not. That's what I don't know when that was weaved into
They
our
started
culture.
shifting the responsibility to everything else.
Correct. That's what it is. It shouldn't be the employer's responsibility. It should be the community. Well, I should say community, but I know what you're saying. And then just
Yeah.
like my family in France, I have two uncles that are doctors, and they've done really well, right? But their system in France is sort of similar to Canada,
Yeah.
and that's yeah. It's just I'm just very fortunate so far,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
won't go too much on a tangent on that because I can talk about that all day.
yeah, me too. That I did a speech recently about it's not been released yet, but I did a TEDx
Oh,
speech
congratulations, first off.
about how curiosity and humor could redefine the patient experience. Because
Mm.
I'm only here, Kiwan, because I'm so curious. Because I poked a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those zebra. They call me a zebra among horses because we just don't know. A lot of it
Yeah.
isn't skewed on this path, but everybody is different. And just like you're so I'm so grateful that you had great medical attention to help you with your
Mhm.
situation, and then that you innately listen to yourself and you've healed, and your body and mind, these work together, right? And I think
Yeah.
you were probably very curious, your mother, your family, that's why you're here. That's kind of how I
Oh yeah.
like to see that. I've always been an independent thinker. That's just
Yeah.
me.
Oh yeah. No, listen, I'm the same way. I'm a critical thinker. I'm a
Huh?
problem solver. Listen, that's
Yes.
that's why I think I became an entrepreneur first and foremost.
Yes. Yeah, that's
That
a
was
good
the
point.
whole, not even just my business now, Amy Motivation. The business I had with Kiwi Enterprise was based off of me trying to solve a problem as well. So I did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography for
Oh, wow.
small businesses and those alike. The reason I chose small businesses is because they get left out all the time.
Yes.
And I was a small business. I knew we got left out all the time. What am I trying to preface here? Well, what I'm saying is with the things that I was offering them at a price that was affordable for small businesses.
Yes.
That's what I
Correct.
was doing it for.
That's right. You're helping people. You want to lift each other up. We have to support each other in a community
Mhm.
wise. And I've had people ask me how much money I make on my podcast. And I'm like, I don't do the podcast to
Yeah.
make money. I'm helping to connect people with other people and
Yep.
so we can learn and inspire us.
Mhm.
I just thought that was funny. I'm like, no, it is more of a marketing thing, but
Oh yeah, yeah, no.
but
Yeah,
it's
what people were paying, so with Kiwi Enterprise, what they were paying me for was my time, my
Mhm.
dedication,
Yeah,
and the hours that I spent doing that.
right,
So I wasn't trying to become a millionaire.
right.
I love doing what I was doing. Now, yes, if something bigger came along, I may have added more employees. That was going to be the ultimate goal, was to add more employees to be able to do more tasks. But to turn it into some kind of conglomerate that made it yet again unaffordable, that's not what I'm looking for. Because
Correct.
that's what it ends up turning into. You have this small business that turns into a decent sized business that turns into a Fortune 500 that hey man, I'm not trying to do that, because then
Correct.
that makes me unaffordable.
That's
The
true.
whole and the whole purpose I got into this is to be affordable.
I like that affordable aspect, but I don't know why I'm independent minded. I think it's I don't know the way I was raised, maybe like I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier before we recorded, I was a military brat. I was a free roamer, I was born in the mid '60s. And so
You
we were
were you a free range chicken?
yes, I was. I was free range with I followed my brother around, but I mean,
Uh,
I just always thought independently
yeah,
because I'm not sure where I get that from,
yeah.
but I was respectful,
Mhm.
but I don't like being put in a box. Maybe that's my personality.
It
Um,
could be your dad. You said he was an only child.
Yes, it could be my dad, but I didn't see him much because he was in Vietnam after I was born.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
but
I'm
I think,
saying like it passed down to you because he was on. Yeah.
yeah, and then my brother, I thank God, he protected me.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really, people think that's cheesy, but I'm really grateful. A lot of women talk about, I'm going down another path here,
It's
women's
okay.
rights and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I had these men protected me, Kiwan.
Hmm.
I had my brother and my father and my stepfather and my husband. No one's have never. A lot of women aren't lucky like me.
Yeah.
I was okay with these big guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we need. More people,
Mhm.
be open to that. I shouldn't say I'm lucky, but I appreciate that because I grew up in an era in business.
Mhm.
Oh, about the only woman
Yeah.
in my role. Okay,
Yeah.
around my husband did not sometimes.
I believe it. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, so it's all good. So anyway, I'm glad we are really. I like what you're talking about. We are really connected in a really great vibe here.
Mhm.
So, what is one or two takeaways for the listeners that of what you've learned in your experiences in life? You know,
Well, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, that's kind of just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Listen, I'm always prepared. So one huge takeaway that I had to learn, this goes back to, the whole mindset, critical thinking, all that, it being independent, all that good stuff. What I had to learn was, people try to put you in a box, like you mentioned, or try to put labels on you. Well, don't let your situation define who you are. You define who you are. What does that mean? Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Bridget. Or you just don't know. So anyway, what that means is those labels, those mindsets, the boxes that they try to put you in, burst out of those boxes. Tell them you don't fit. It does not hold you. You're over capacity for this box. And the label keeps sliding off of you because you have some kind of oil or whatever resistant man or matter on you that it just keeps slipping off. Because why do I say this? I might be blind. I might have a traumatic brain injury. I might have PTSD. I might have a spinal cord injury. I might have short-term memory loss. I might have broken both of my legs. I might have two different size feet. Forgot to mention that.
Oh my gosh.
I forgot to mention that. I have two different size feet now. My left foot is the original size, which is a size 10, and now my right foot from the accident is a size 11.
Oh wow. Congrats.
Yes. I learned that from my podiatrist because I was trying to figure out why my right foot kept swelling in my shoes.
Oh wow.
I'm spending all this money on shoes, and it's because my foot is a different size. So,
Wow.
yeah, when I tell you about all these different things that I'm labeled as, let me show you what I can do. Stop putting me in a box. Stop trying to baby me, coddle me, all that. I want to get out here and explore. I want to be adventurous, and I want you to be that way as well.
I love that. We are definitely on the same page. After, especially after what you're dealing with, you really appreciate what life, right? Enjoy it. And I like you're actually very more intellectual than you realize. I think you are, because you think you're a problem solver, you're a thinker, and that's what we need. And some people don't want to change. That's whatever, right? We can't do anything
Mhm.
about that. But you're embracing Kiwan. So, where can people learn more about you?
Absolutely, I can feel free to go to my website, amymotivation.com. That is AMEY motivation.com. You can find my book on there that we talked about today, Don't Focus on Why Me, From Motorcycle Accident to Miracle. You can also go to Amazon, search the same title. You can go to Kindle, Audible, and Apple Books. The Audible and Apple Books are actually the audio versions of the
Okay.
book. And so that'll be awesome for those who like to listen to books. I love listening to books first and foremost, but I also got a great sounding voice to do the
So you
narration.
did. I think that's awesome you did the audio. I think the
Yes.
narration, is that the better word? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I had to because personally, it was like a personal thing to me for my visually impaired people, as well as those who just like to listen when they're driving, whatever. Some people just like to listen when they run. They might go jogging and they're listening to my book. Things like that. I do it for that purpose too, because we all can't just sit down and read all day. We
No,
might have reason just turn it on and let it play. So I did it for that reason too. Now, also on my website, you can find my social media handles. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. All you have to do is go on there and search my first and last name on any of those platforms, and you'll see my shiny face with some shades on. And again, my name is spelled Kijuan Amey. Now, if you want to see some videos of me on my website, I do have a video of me speaking, but I also have a video of me playing the drums.
I like
Uh,
that.
yeah, so I give you everything on there. And if you would love to book me for any speaking engagement, conference, a convention, an event, a gala, whatever you have coming up, it could even be your bar mitzvah. I'll do that too. So anyway, just go on there and click the book me link, and I feel free to talk to you and communicate with you, and we can collab that way.
I love that. I'll include all the links in the description. And you mentioned the running. Yeah. How did you know I was a runner? I'm sorry.
Well, you
I,
should be as a military brat.
I am. People ask, I'm like, I don't know. I think it's because I tried to be like my older brother. He used to trick me a lot. Can you imagine that?
No, what? We don't trick younger siblings. What are you talking about? Stop it.
I love this. This is so awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being a guest. And maybe we'll have you back. Okay.
Yeah, for
And,
sure. I'm okay with
and
that.
hope everybody has a great day.